I'm so excited for today. I am here with Alyssa Casper Gregg from Great Falls, Montana. She has been in Break Free for the last, I don't know, maybe 14 weeks or so, 14, 16 weeks, something like that. And I'm just really excited to have this conversation so she can share her experience. I've seen her just do so much growth in her personal life and her business. And I just asked her to come on here with me and share a little bit about her journey and what Break Free was like for her. So, hi, Alyssa.
Hi.
I'm so glad you're here. Let me ask you, what inspired you to start the Break Free program to begin with?
So, kind of a long story short, we did a panel at my brokerage where we talked to the more experienced agents in our office for what was working, what was not. And I would say like 80% of them said, get a coach. And so at that moment, and it was kind of in the back of my mind, I decided to start looking. But as you're aware, I'm very hesitant with all of that. And I was like, I mean, I will, but maybe not right now. And then I kind of found you and we connected and I talked to you and I was like, oh man, I think I do need to go ahead and jump in because I didn't want to feel like I missed my shot. Not that I would have, but it just felt so aligned with everything that I was like, I think this needs to happen and it needs to happen now. So that's
I
kind
love
of how it
it.
was. I learned from those before me.
So the agents before the experienced agents in your office said get a coach. That was like their number one advice.
Yeah. Their number one
Um,
tip for doing well in business was get a coach.
but you were not actively looking for one.
No, not at that point. I knew like so many people had coaches and I was like, that's like a down the road thing.
Yeah.
But whenever they said that, like get a coach soon and do it soon, because that was also like, if you could redo your first couple of years, would you change anything? And they were like, I would have got a coach sooner.
Oh
And
my gosh.
so,
I actually couldn't agree more. Because
yeah,
my journey, and you know this very well, is like I did not have a closing for the first 6 months of my career. And then once I got a coach is when I started actually closing deals. So I think it's really easy to get a real estate license, but it's not easy to build a real estate business. So it's kind of the misconception. Like everybody has held a real estate license at some point in their life, right? But not everybody has built a successful real estate business.
yeah. And no one really tells you that part of it.
Yeah.
You just like get your license and they're like, all right, fly free. You'll
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah. Here you
Or you
go.
won't.
Right.
Yeah.
Looking back at the beginning of Break Free, what would you say were some of your biggest struggles or fears?
Ooh, let's see, struggles or fears. I was nervous about coaching in general because I was like, as you know, I wouldn't maybe say nervous. I was more like, do I actually need this right now? So sorry if my dog barks. I did put her in. Anyway,
Okay.
and I was like, I don't know if I actually need this right now. And then so much of your mindset coaching, which I thought I was doing pretty well in, I was like, oh, turns out I'm maybe not doing as well as I thought I was. And not that I don't have a very strong mindset, I do, but it's just I've learned so much and picked up so many nuggets. And I feel like what I knew was here and you've just expanded it to here. And
Hmm.
so like I had done the work to get here and you did it here. And I wouldn't say that was a fear, but maybe a hang up of mine was the like, do I actually need this? And then without saying yes, you do, you did.
Oh,
And so what was the other half?
will you expand on that?
On like, okay, so like fears. Okay. And you have this, you give us a journal right when we start. The 21-day transformation journal is emailed to us right when we start coaching as well. And I really liked that. And it seemed like you were in that journal, you're like, you need to dig deep on like your, I'm trying to think of the word you used, hangups, anchors, maybe something along those lines, like attachments. That was the word. What are you attached to? And I'm like, nothing. And then we did like the coaching session on attachments. And I was like, oh my goodness, so many things. And so being able to dig deeper on that. And again, like, I didn't think I necessarily had these hangups, like, I don't know, more limiting beliefs, I guess. And, or I didn't think I had them to the extent that I did. And then you're kind of like, okay, surface level, we're here. What if we dig into that? And I was like, oh. oh my goodness. And it was so many times, and it seemed like every time we call, there's just a new light bulb. And I know I've told you this personally before, but I have a notebook for, I haven't, you know, been in this for maybe a quarter of the year, a little over, right? And I have a
Hmm.
notebook that is completely, I think I have a handful of pages left. This notebook is filled out with nothing but notes from our sessions, and I'm able to flip back to it so many times. And I do, uh, especially when something comes up where I'm like, I think I might be in my head about this. Let me flip back to that. Or uh, we also have like the practical, like go do sessions. And so then I'm like, oh, I remember we talked about this. Let me look to that for going into this. Like, and so on. And even like open houses, I have a very solid open house strategy. And you were able to be like, but do you do this? And I was like, oh, again, you're just adding more. Like I thought I was doing really well. And granted I was, but it's like, here's the room for improvement. And no one was telling me. I was just kind of digging in and trying to figure out what works. And so for you to be like, did that, here's what works. It's just been huge, huge, huge for me.
I love that. I'm so glad. You have been so fun and break free and like to coach you because you're right. When you came in, you, I think you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you observe
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of just feel it out. And then you were like, all right, before you allow like your mind and your heart to open up to something. So like you were growth minded, you obviously wanted to grow. I mean, you invested in yourself, right? But the way that you opened up throughout the program and then grew as you opened up, it was really, really, really cool to witness. Because you were right. You were kind of like, No, I think I'm good there. I don't think I have a belief there. I think I'm good." And I was okay, no problem. And then as I would do the facilitation with our group, you would have a look on your face and I would go, "Alyssa, what's that about?" And I just had a moment of clarity from on something. Oh my gosh, right? And it was like, all right, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. So, but I think that's what it takes in order to grow. Like to be open, even if you think I have this, still being open to say, even if I think I have 95% of it, I could still be missing 5%. And that 5% might be the small percentage that could propel me forward.
Yeah, and it's so funny too that you keep saying grow because that was like my if you could see my laptop, that's what my background is because that's my word for the year is grow. And not just in business, but personally in my faith and every single aspect is just grow. And so the fact that you keep saying grow, I'm like that was my focus coming in was grow and to be willing to grow. And so, but again, I think I am an observer, 100%, and I'm very much like I'm going to see how this plays out before I like fully, buy in. And I think it was fairly quick too. Like I was like, I'm gonna see how this goes. And I was like, all right, she's on, you got it, you're on to something. It's not just all the
Oh,
woo-woo stuff. There's good. It's you get the meat and potatoes, which is what I'm after. And
yeah.
so
Yeah, we try and do the meat and potatoes too, right? And yeah, get the
yeah.
substance behind it.
Well, and I'm a logical thinker. So if it is woo-woo and you can explain it to me that I can logic it, then I'm bought in. But I have to you have to explain it to me. And I think you do that very well. Like you said with your facilitation, even if you're like, okay, what is this? I'm like, and then you're like, think about it like this. And I'm like, oh,
Good. Yeah. For those of you that like, because we're recording this, obviously, on Mondays we do mindset and identity work. And then on Thursdays, we always do an activity that pertains to our business, right? But mindset and identity is really, I would say, 85% of our business, right? If we don't put ourselves in the mindset, the identity of where we want to be first, a lot of times we say, I'll be her when I have it. And it's like, no, you have to be her first. And so that's about 85% of it. And so the level of consciousness that we're at right now will not get us to where we want to be. So we have to grow on the inside before it starts to show up on the outside. Would you agree?
I would. And I just want to add like knowing and doing that are two different things. So if anyone is watching this and it's like, well, how do I do that? This is where like you fully come in. Cause I knew, like I can't just like wishy-washy, like someday I'll get there, someday I'll do this. I was like, I know I need to do the work, but what is the work?
What is the work? Yeah. How do I embody it? What do I do?
Yeah, because I feel like every guru, every coach will tell you like, oh, to be here, you have to be here, and I'm like, okay, but how?
Yeah.
And so many of them are like, I'll figure it out, or like whatever other kind of excuse they give. But I'm like, give me answers, please. I need guidance.
Alyssa, I think that's why I coach the way I do because I'm a lot like you. I'm like, give me the playbook, give me the substance, give me the meat and potatoes. Don't just tell me to sit there and think positive.
Hmm. Or
Really,
affirmations.
or
Just do
the
the affirmations every day, which are great. And I'm not knocking them, but I'm like, but I need more than affirmations.
tell
I
me
need
what you
action.
really did to do what you did, right?
Hmm.
Tell me the steps.
Yes.
Me the meat and potatoes, right? And I think a lot of times people are afraid to really show all their cards. And I think one thing that's so beautiful about not the, yeah, I mean, the program, yes, I've designed it that way, but the group that we have is everybody's willing to show all their cards. It's an abundant mindset. It's everybody comes from contribution and everybody knows that there's enough to go around for everybody. And I just think that that's one of the most beautiful things about the whole program. I don't know.
It is. And they say to put yourself into these groups with people who will bring out the best in you. And this group 100% is those people. It's like a beautifully curated group of people, and they're so different. And I love, they're going to ask different questions than I'm going to ask, which is going to make me reflect on some different things. And it's just so beautiful. And the collaboration that comes from it, it just warms my heart. And I love seeing them. We follow each other on Instagram, like you encouraged.
Yeah.
And it's so cool because it's like we're all rooting for each other from across the country, and just seeing, the different things they're doing and whatnot. It's just so, it's hard to put into words. It's almost like they're like a little family that you're kind of building. And so just really come to adore them and love watching them grow and know that they're rooting for me too, which is amazing.
I agree, especially like as an entrepreneur and in real estate, you kind of feel like you're on an island by yourself. And then oddly, we're one of the weird professions that like our colleagues are also in a weird way our competition. And so a lot of people hold their cards close to themselves if you're in the same market. And
Mm-hmm.
so with having everybody in the group from all areas of the nation, it's just been really beautiful collaboration for everybody. What were your expectations going into the program? And how did those expectations start to evolve throughout the process?
I kind of touched on this with like mindset. I thought it was fairly solid, and so it's like, yeah, she'll probably kind of add to it a couple of things here and there, but that was completely blown out of the water almost immediately when I was like, okay. And then again, I'm more of an observer. I keep my cards close to my heart, but it's so funny when you're in that group, like we said, and you're writing these, and typically I maybe wouldn't be the person to be like, yeah, I'll share. But in that group, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna share. Like these people are so supportive. They're so wonderful. They're gonna root for me, or they're gonna be like, hey, that little mindset thing that we were talking about, you just wrote it down. You're still doing it. It's still there, which is great. You definitely need people who are gonna call you on your stuff. So that was not something I expected at all. I knew I wanted to lean more towards a group coaching thing, maybe because it's easier to sit back and watch. In my mind, it's not, and that's not going to happen here. But in my mind, it felt safer to go into group coaching because it's not a spotlight on me. But
Little did you know how closely I watch you.
little did I know, and which is so amazing too, because then you just make everyone feel so seen. Like when you're like, oh, Alyssa, you had this going on. How is that? And then the whole group is like, yeah, we really want to know about that. And then I know the things with the different people in the group too. It's just really amazing, and not something if you'd have told me day one, like, hey, these people are going to know your personal business, I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
out.
You've brought up mindset a few times. What specifically do you think was the biggest shift in your mindset?
So, background wise, I've been a stay at home mom for I guess before real estate, 8 years. So, you know, which is a long time to stay home. And I was big on not saying I'm just a stay-at-home mom. Like I know that's not the thing. And I was, running groups and whatnot, which is maybe why I was like, no, I'm good. Like I already know not to be like, I'm just this to live, who I am. But I do think
By
there
the
were a
way,
couple of
stay-at-home mom is
places.
the hardest job in the world. Let's be clear
It's,
about that.
yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, which is why I hit a point where I was like, this has been great.
Right. Right. Mama needs to get out.
I need something.
Yeah. It's the hardest job in the world.
It's, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Love it. Love it. Love it. Was ready to step into my next season. And my kids are very supportive. They're still young, but they're very excited. So, but I do think in so many ways I've been like, well, for example, our value proposition that you have us do a value proposition. And I'm so glad I went through that coaching with you before I did it on my own, because in that moment I was like, I've been a mom. That's, that's what I've done. And you were like, well, moms do this, moms manage the schedule, you're the, finance, you're doing the one meal planning, all of these things. And that can come into how you're balancing clients. And here's how it plays into real estate. And then it just really, I was like, oh, because that was something I was kind of nervous, like telling people, because I was like, when you're newer, well, what did you do before this? Like, oh, stayed home.
Yeah.
And some people like you're very supportive of it, but that's not always the case with everyone. And so I've always had to
Be a
kind of
limiting
defend
belief.
that. So,
Be a limiting belief.
and it was, yeah, and that was one of the ones that you dug up almost immediately for me. And then social media, I didn't really think, I was like, well, people are judging me or anything like that. And I still don't, but I am from a kind of smaller town and I didn't want them to be like, well, who does she think she is? And I didn't realize that until we went over it and I was kind of like writing. And I think I like stopped writing and physically was like, oh my goodness, I'm doing this thing where I'm holding myself back because of people who really don't care what I'm doing. But I don't want them to think I'm getting, sitting on my high horse or something. And I was like, and they're not going to, but why was I thinking that? And I didn't realize I was thinking it until you were like, let's dig into that. And just in one of the sessions, you had like your questions that you're like, we're going to journal these. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. What's the real reason that we're not putting ourselves out there, right? So we think that we have to do all these things and we have to be like everything to everyone. And we see all of these other agents doing all of these things. And so we want to do all the marketing like what every other agent is doing, because then we can just kind of play it safe. We don't have to like really put our authentic selves out there, right? So social media is all about connection and it's really about showing yourself. But if you can play it safe and just kind of do things at an arm's length, then it's okay. I didn't really try that hard anyway. Nobody really saw the real me anyway. I wasn't really vulnerable anyway. So if I don't do well, no love lost, no big deal. But like, it's really hard for us to be our own accountability partners and to realize what's the real reason that I'm not doing this? What's the real reason I'm holding myself back? And the honest truth is, we all have fear. We all have fear. I don't care if you're, I don't know, if you've been doing this 35 years, everybody has some sort of fear. So it's just a matter of finding out what that is.
Yeah. And I don't think I would have ever left to myself dug into that.
Mm-hmm.
Cause, and I'm big on like, oh, I'm not, I'm afraid of heights and like things like that.
Yeah.
But like social pressures and whatnot, I've been like, oh no, that's fine. And you were like, let's dig into that. And I was like, turns out I
Yeah.
was wrong.
Yeah. Isn't it funny that when people say the hard work, we think it's like the doing, right? And of course we have to act, we have to do, we have to be, we have to embody. But would you agree with me that the hard work is not the actual doing? The hard work is the self-discovery.
I would 100%. I feel comparatively the doing in real estate compared to like the mental, the grit that you have to get and everything to kind of thrive in this industry, the doing part is easy.
Mhm.
The contracts, they're not, once you learn them, you learn them. They're the contracts. You've got it. Once you learn, the scripts or how you're going to talk to people, you know how you're going to talk to people. It's easy to do, but it's harder to, because sometimes the reason you're stopping is that mental stuff. Like that's
100%.
probably what's stopping you from the things you need to do, like calling your sphere. That was another one that I've got clients now because you pointed out, digging into your sphere and like not taking people out who you think maybe like, oh, they're gonna call so and so. And you were like, are you sure? Have you followed up with them? And then I think we were actually on a call when one of them messaged me back and was like, actually, and I was like, oh my goodness, I almost fully removed this person from my sphere because I didn't think I was their go-to. And it turns out I was.
You were going to say no for them.
I was. And they, full story, it's their parents who are looking to move up here, but they had just bought a year or so ago. So I was like, oh no, they're going with that person. And you were like, well, follow up with them anyway if they're your friend. And she was like, my parents really want to move up here. Let's get looking. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we make assumptions, right? So sometimes we have to look and go, is that the truth? Or is that a story I'm telling myself?
I
Because
think
it's
that's the exact conversation we were having when she messaged me.
yeah, I think so. I think I do remember that, right? Because it's our brain's job to keep us safe. So our
Mm-hmm.
brain is gonna play tricks on us. We're gonna go, no,
Yeah.
it's not. No, it's the truth. And it's like, is is this the truth? Am I really telling myself the truth or am I telling myself the story?
Yeah. I've
And
questioned that a lot. That's maybe one of the questions that you've told us to ask ourselves that has been the most impactful. Is that the truth or is that something I'm telling myself? Like, is that the truth? Is that true? Does this person actually not want to work with me or have I not even asked?
yeah, yeah,
Do these people think my social media is weird or am I not even posting? It's
yeah.
so much of it. And like being able to step back and ask myself that question has been huge. And then I know I had told you it's just so funny that everything that we've gone over has aligned so perfectly with what is happening in my life in general, from what we talked about on a Monday, then them talking about on the radio days later. And I was just like, oh my goodness. And it was one of those things where I was only in my car because I forgot something at the store and had to run back at a weird time. And that's what they were
Nine
talking
time.
about.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was just completely blown away. Like, this is, and two, it's like, I need this obviously because it wouldn't be following me around if I didn't.
right. No, I don't believe in coincidences. So
Yeah, I don't either. I'm big on no coincidences. It's meant to be. And
mm,
so,
I do not believe in coincidences. So that was
mm-mm.
happened for you, which is great. So you've talked about like how you've reached out to people more. You haven't been saying no for people. How has that impacted your relationships with your
Um, so good. So I am pretty good at inviting and reaching out and whatnot, but not necessarily for business because I've been inviting people to, like, let's go to the park, let's support each other, especially as moms, things like that. But then it's like, we'll reach out and see if they want to buy. I'm like, and so you were kind of like, well, just do it at these times, and here's how you ask it. And the way that you reframed how you ask, I was like, oh, that seems so much, that is not as scary as being like, hey, Brooke, you want to buy your house or sell it or
Mhm.
let me help you in any way possible? Tell me about your real estate dreams.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's about adding value, right? And it's about leading with the relationship. I think that there's a mindset shift with agents that when we get into to real estate, that all of a sudden we have to be salespeople to everybody that we love and everybody that we're in relationship with. And it's like, no, you still are in relationship. In fact, we're in the relationship business. We're in the adding value business. Then stay in relationship, add value. And So the question is then, do you or anyone that you know happen to have any real estate plans within the next 12 months? And then you stay in relationship. But I think that
Yeah.
is do I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I find that so often with newer agents and that if that I find that to be a mentality of, oh my gosh, now I have to be a salesperson to everyone in my sphere, to everyone that I'm in relationship with. And so they clam up and they don't even want to tell them or say anything about real estate. Like, what advice would you give to somebody that is feeling that right now?
Um, First of all, let it go. Like it's not that serious. Also, you're not this is about to sound really silly, but whenever I got into real estate, I knew like you're selling stuff, but I think when everyone was like, "Oh, you're a salesperson now," I was like, "What? What do you mean?" And that was maybe shocking to me. I don't know. I'm not really sure where, why, or how my brain separated those two, but I was like, and maybe because we had a good realtor when we bought, who was very relational, and I didn't think she was selling us anything, you know? And so I'm like, no, we're just helping people. I'm not selling you anything. I'm not trying to force you into anything. And so, as far as advice for that, I'm like, think about it like that. Like, you're not going to force someone into a house. And if you are, maybe this is not the industry for you, or you're not going to force them to sell their
Good
house.
point. I love that you
But
just said that. Maybe you should, do you want a coaching job? That was a great point. I love that. If you're trying to force people into buying and selling, it's probably not the industry for you.
yeah, you maybe should consider a career in car sales or something like, because there you expect it too.
Right.
You know, like when I go to a car lot, I'm like, all right, they're coming at me. They're sharks. They're going to, it's expected. But at no point through like buying a house was I like, these people are going to hound me until I buy, this specific house or anything like that. And so I think maybe I just had a different, that was something I guess I learned coming into the industry is that that's a fear of everyone that they're going to come across as salesy all the time.
Mhm.
And so I was like, well, my mom, for example, she does IT. She's never like, oh, I can't tell you I do computers because I don't want you thinking that I need to work on yours, you know?
Yeah.
She's always just been like, yeah, I do IT. If you need help, here's my number, give me a call. Because she would do extra, But, and so I'm like, and maybe that's the reason is my mom literally could have been salesy and she never was. And so I just took that
Great mentor.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I did not want to do compute. I was like, you keep that stuff, mom. I will
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
something more my pace. And so seeing her provide value instead of sale, I think it was more natural with that versus maybe if she had been a salesperson, then I would see it as more salesy, but I don't. Even at open houses where people are coming in, I'm never like, do you have an agent? Do you want me to be your agent? I'm always like, hey, can I help you? What do you have going on? Are you looking at other houses?
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
I love, you're like, you need to coin the out of curiosity.
Out of curiosity.
Out of curiosity. That's if you do join coaching, plan on hearing that. And it's brilliant. It's always used so perfectly that I'm like, oh my gosh. Because no one's ever, out of curiosity, do you know anyone looking to buy or sell in the next 12 months? Or maybe they want to invest? And
Hmm.
then they're like, oh, yeah, I'm curious about that too. Maybe I'll ask.
Let me think about that. Right.
Yeah. And
I
then you
think
get a
it's,
text later on.
yeah, right. Because I really think that, first of all, I think most of us need to come from curiosity and ask more questions, period. Right. I think we make assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
And when we make assumptions, we tell ourselves a story and we say no for people. Right. And but when we come from curiosity, it's safe, it's conversational, it's kind, it's coming from value. It's I'm I'm here to serve, right?
Yeah.
Out of I'm curious, but it's not invasive.
Well, and it's almost like you're saying, I'm curious, how can I serve you or someone you love?
Mhm.
And so it's so kind and it's such like a gentle way to put it in there. And that's kind of you've done that with multiple things, like out of curiosity, and it's always literally like just to boil it down to what it is, out of curiosity, how can I help you?
Yes.
And in more or less words. It's just so beautiful. And I think like that versus like, hey, let me sell you something.
Yeah.
Said like, let me be curious, let me ask some questions. And I've noticed too that's drawn people who maybe did work with someone else. They're like, oh, you do things differently. And
Yeah.
it's like a breath of fresh air for people who maybe did have that one realtor who was a salesman.
Yeah. Well, even a side note on that, like because we are in the relationship business, a lot of that comes from, and I'm not perfect at this by any means, because my husband will tell you that for sure. But like most conflict, most miscommunication, most any like I guess misunderstandings will come from us not asking enough questions. Will come from us not being curious. And so it's like anytime you feel that jolt of like we're not in alignment right now. Something's not right or I don't have an understanding of what's going on. It's like stop, Brooke. Hold on. Get curious. Get curious. Right? And so it's like same thing with I don't want to be salesy. Then don't. Get curious. Add value.
Yeah. One, we all know everybody's favorite topic is themselves. So if you're like, hey, tell me what you got going on,
Yeah.
people are like,
Yeah.
I would love to.
Yeah. And why do people move? If we're in relationship with people, people move because life happens. People move
Mhm.
because it doesn't, people don't move because of the market.
Mm-mm.
People move because life happens. They have children, become empty nesters, get married, go through divorce, lose their job, get relocated, get a raise, you know, get demoted, whatever it is, life happens.
Yeah.
And when we're in relationship with people, we then know what's going on in their lives.
Yeah. And I think that's the brilliant, it's like you're almost like a step ahead ish, you know? You're like, okay, so and so is pregnant and they live in a one bedroom house. Maybe not right now, but I do need to make sure I'm following up with them because soon they're
Yeah.
probably going to want something bigger.
Right. And when you ask that, do you have any real estate plans in the next 12 months? It's not like, oh, you're going to hound me to buy or sell right now, but it's like, oh, maybe. I don't know. I really haven't thought about that. This baby could cause us to need a bigger house. Follow up with me. I don't know. We'll see. And then you've just
That,
gotten
or you've got your 5 year planners who are like, well, no, not in the next 12 months, but we are planning on moving by the time our baby starts preschool because we want to be by the preschool,
yeah,
or we want to change our commute, or when I go back to work, this is our plan
right.
for
And
various
you're the
things.
one
And
that
so
cares. You're the one that shows up. You're the one they trust. You're the one that's been leading with relationship. And so it's just beautiful to lead with the relationship. I think one of the biggest mistakes that I see with realtors is they call or they send letters or they send an email and they go, nobody in my sphere of influence wants to do anything. Really? Did you ask about their life? Did you ask about upcoming things? Are you looking for the right now business or are you looking to be in relationship? Because you can really predict a really beautiful business if you know what's going on and you're in relationship with your sphere. Would you agree?
I would agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've talked about your business. Has the program done anything for your personal life?
Yes. Again, it's the same thing, kind of. It's like there's just been so much growth and so much where, okay, a really like vague example is I'm bad at accepting help. And we had like a session where you're like, well, you should probably not do that.
I
And
don't know
so,
if I said it that way.
yeah. Okay, well, because I'm not necessarily bad at, okay, I'm bad at accepting help to the point that I'll be like, stop doing that. And you're like, have you tried not stopping people from helping you? And I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
And I have, and it's been great. And it turns out people do love to help if you let them. And, you know,
I remember that session particularly. We were talking about hero victim.
yes. And I was 100% like, I am not the victim. I never do that. And you were like, well, if we turn it back and maybe look at it from this angle, I was like, oh, I can see, I can see how that was one that I was like, this is fine. I don't really necessarily need this. And you're like, okay, well, here's how we're going to explain it. And I was like, turns out I need this, which is good. I'm glad that I wasn't just like, and turn it off and leave. Like, I know some coaching programs just send you recorded videos always, and that's what you get. And so I think since we're actually in conversation, I can't just be like, skip.
Yeah, you can't hide from me.
No, you cannot. Even recently when I was eating, and you're like, don't care, camera on.
I want to see you. Yeah.
Which it's fine.
We all
I'm a
eat.
big food
It's
fan.
okay.
So big bites.
So,
But I do respect it so much too, because it's like, and I know you're watching our facial expressions, so you are seeing when we're having the moments of like, oh my goodness, this is, hero victim, didn't think I needed it. And I think maybe you even were like, what are you thinking right now? And I was like, so much. My mind is blown.
yeah.
Again, because very much this is one that you'll have to explain to them, anyone who's interested, the hero victim thing. I was like, I am not a victim. That is not me. I never played the victim. I would never be a victim. And you're like, well, you kind of like flip the script on it. And we're like, victim isn't necessarily what you're thinking it is. It can be, XYZ. And I was like, okay, I do that.
Are you open to sharing a little bit about your aha moment?
Yeah,
And if
yes,
not, that's okay.
I am. You might have to kind of, I do remember that being a huge one for me. And I remember like the biggest part of it was like, oh my goodness, maybe I am more of a victim. And I can't fully remember exactly how you explained it. If you
So,
want to touch on that.
sure. So my commitment to all of my clients is that I'm growing right alongside you. And this was a lesson my coach apparently thought I needed too. So, which was beautiful, right? I had a one-on-one session and I had the hero victim chat with my coach. And I was like, oh man, that one stings. Okay. But it was a huge, huge growth moment for me. And when I have huge growth moments and I have a breakthrough, it's really important that I share that with you because that's my commitment to you is I will grow alongside you and I will come from an abundant mindset and I will share my breakthroughs and hope that at moments you will have them alongside. The hero and victim are very, very closely related. And we never want to think of ourselves as a victim, right? But a lot of us, especially very independent women, will go, I'm not a victim, but we'll go, no, 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 I got it. I'll load the dishwasher myself. I'll take care of this. I won't ask for help. Oh, you want to go do guys' night? Yeah, you go ahead and do guys' night, and I'll just stay here and pack the kids for school tomorrow, and I'll do the lunches, and I'll take care of the dishes, and I'll make dinner, right? So you're saying, I'll do all this. You go ahead and do what you want. So you're victimizing yourself without realizing it. And the next day, you go to your girlfriends, I do everything on my own. I'm the only one that does anything in my house. I'm the one that has to do everything. So you're victimizing yourself, but then you're making yourself the hero. You're not accepting any help. You're not asking for help. Anytime anyone does anything with you, they do it wrong and you correct it. Without even knowing it, we intentionally make ourselves a victim because subconsciously we have to be the hero. And it's like, how do I then come to the middle point and say, how do I not be the victim or the hero? Oh, well, if I just ask for help and realize it's right there and someone's more than willing to help me, uh-oh, then I don't have the story of being the hero. Can I be okay with that? That's the hero victim.
Yes. Okay. And so as you're saying that, I was like, this is, you basically used the example. It's
Oh,
kind of very similar because so when I started real estate, I've been a stay-at-home mom. I've always done like the house stuff. And not that my husband isn't willing or able or anything to help. He's wonderful. But I felt he works. The least I could do is manage this. Again, 100%. That was a me thing. And then I started real estate and I am very busy and I've got, busy with that. My kids are older. We're busy with kid stuff. And the house was suffering and it was really stressing me out. And my husband would come home and start cleaning. And I'd be like, no, 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 no. You work all
yes.
day. You cannot do that. And, he'd be like, okay, crazy person. Like, if you really don't want me, because I'd be like, you need to relax. We're eating dinner as a family. You're going to have a nice night. I'll deal with this later. And then, and kind of like, oh my gosh, I do everything. I'm the one who gets the kids ready. I do this, I do that. Never
Yeah.
saying that to him by any means, or even, and it's
Just
not even that I
looping
wasn't
in your
asking
mind.
him help. I was physically stopping him from helping me. And you were like, and that was kind of what I said. And you're like, you should not stop him. He wants to help, he's able, he's willing. And so I quit stopping him. And that was like a huge weight just suddenly lifted. And I'm going to tell you too, it was so hard to not just be like, I've got it still. And I was like, this is what we talked about in coaching today. Here's how it went. And he was like, well, yeah, he's like, I try to help. And I was like, I know. And if I was like, this is why I'm telling you. So if I do stop you, will you just be like, you're not supposed to stop me anymore. You're
I
supposed
love
to let
that.
me
You
do
asked him
this.
to hold
And
you
it's been,
accountable.
I did, yeah. And it's been so amazing. And the house is better off for it. We're all better off for it. It's just been really wonderful. And that was a very personal thing, especially being like, yo, my house is a mess. And like being able to say that and just accept it for what it was and knowing I was in a busy season. And I was the reason it was such a mess. Like I wasn't, and even the boys, I'm like, no, no, like this is your childhood. You guys play, And granted, I'd be like, clean up when you're done, but then they'd be like, oh, we're on to the next. And I'd be like, oh, that's okay. You're only kids once. And my husband was like, you gotta quit.
I think this is the most beautiful conversation we could have because there's this feeling for us women, and I'm going to say women because 65% of realtors are women.
Mm-hmm.
And mom guilt is a real thing. Feeling like we need to do it all is a real thing. Taking on building a business, but refusing to let go of all of the household stuff and all of the mom things, the traditional mom things or traditional wife things.
Okay, go. Sorry.
Mom, you're mom. It's totally that's
It's
it.
like
That's
they
life, right?
knew.
Yes, this is what we do. It's those are things that we are hard to let go of. And when I had that moment of clarity for me with my coach, it was over Christmas time. And I was so stressed. And we have a blended family of 7, which came with, you know, 2 huge families, double the Christmas presents to buy, double the list, double the food to make, the kids, right? All the things, dishes to pass. And I was looking at everything and I was like freaking out. And I was making myself a victim. And he was like, I'm going to go to guys' night. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you just go to guys' night. And then I would stay home. And by the way, I have the most amazing husband, helpful. He's not a mind reader. He doesn't know what I need if I don't tell him. right? But he would go and I would literally be like, oh, okay, yeah, you just go do guys' night. I'll just stay here and get all the food ready. I'll just stay here and do all the gifts. I'll just stay here with my 10-mile long list. And I'm mad at him and he doesn't even know it. But then the next day I'm with my girlfriends or my sisters and I'm like, the hero. Oh, he went to guys' night and I did everything on my own.
I let him go and I just took care of it because I'm so great.
No, yeah, and I actually had stopped myself in that moment, realized what I was doing, and ended up contacting him when he was at guys' night and said, "I am so sorry to do this, but I need help." And he was like, "I will be right there." It's as simple as just asking and saying, "I don't need to be the hero or the victim." So I know we went on a tangent on that, but I think it's a really important conversation because so many realtors are women and so many of us do that. And there's a reason why burnout is a real thing, and it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, well, and to dig deep into that too with what we've talked about previously is he wanted to go to guys' night, right? But you told yourself like probably something along the lines of like he's not gonna help, da 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 da. And then when you called him, he's like, "Oh no, like I'll come right
I'm
home."
there.
So it's like the truth versus what you were telling yourself to be true were not in alignment, and you were causing stress on yourself because of it. And that's the same thing I did. Is I'm like, he doesn't want to help me. He works all day. He's gonna be too tired to help out, what have you. And he's like, I don't mind at all. My husband likes cleaning, by the way. He's weird, but he's the tidy one, and I was stopping him.
I love that. I love that. No, and it's us, it's stories, it's all the stories that we tell ourselves, it's saying no for people. It's all the pressures that we put on ourselves. It's not prioritizing and stuff like that. So I just thought that was such a beautiful and important conversation to
Okay,
have.
I love you. Go
Hey,
ahead.
buddy. Okay. What is up next for you? What's your next stage of growth?
Ooh, I'm still very early on in my career, and so I am very excited for fall. I've talked about this in the coaching group, but obviously no one here is going to know me personally. I have an almost kindergartner, and so I'm going to fully be able to actually step into this in a more full-time, undistracted kind of aspect, and that is terrifying, to be completely honest, but I'm very excited about it. And sad because my baby's going to kindergarten. Who's not sad about that? But and so I just am at that point too because we're in August. School starts very soon for us, and I'm almost but not yet. And so I'm looking forward to and planning and really going to hit the ground running per se, because that's been my plan since I started real estate, was to kind of slow roll until my baby went to kindergarten, and that's head down, go time.
Yeah.
And so, and I have a plan. We already kind of had spoken with allied vendors is kind of where I'm going to lean. And thankfully, it works out that they're all very busy here in the summer because we have a lot of snow in the winter. And so they're like, I would absolutely love to meet in the fall. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, great, that actually works better for me too, but I didn't want to tell you that. I wanted it to be
So
your
when you
idea.
go full time and all the kids are in school, what habits that you learned will be incorporated?
The 24 touch,
Okay.
huge. I started with the open house. Sorry if you can hear that. There's a plane.
Oh,
Anyway, okay. Life. This is what I get for sitting outside where I thought it would be quieter.
you're good. And I actually can't hear it. So
Okay, good. I did
yeah, we just
headphones,
roll with
but
the punches here. We're good.
all right. Anyway, the 24 touches, I do the open house. Once we had the open house session, like I said, you had stuff that I there was a lot I wasn't implementing, and some of it I was halfway implementing, but could have, like putting the sign in on Wednesdays. I'm like, yeah, I should. And most of the time I was, but sometimes I was putting a sign down on Friday, showing up on Sunday, like, oh yeah, hey, come see me at this open house. And that was kind of the extent of it. And you really, and I was doing well with open houses. I'll say that too. Like I was doing well. And it's just been even better since you were like changed a couple of things with that. And your open house strategy is beautiful. I love it. And so I've gone with that, and that's been better. And I'm excited to be able to do that even more
Mhm.
because, like, a tidbit of that is I door knock typically kind of Friday late in the afternoon. That way we can catch people coming home from work. And that's very hard to do with kids. Not impossible, plenty of people did it,
Yeah.
but my kids are at the age where they're like, "Oh, mom,
Yeah.
why are you dragging us to this?" You
Yeah.
know,
You remind me of Diana Kokoska. Her, I don't know if you know who that is, but yeah,
the stroller.
she would carry, she's big. She was like the founder of Bold with Keller Williams.
Mhm.
Beautiful, beautiful woman. And that's how she started her career. She door knocked with her kids in the wagon.
Yeah, I've heard that. Mine are a little past wagon age by the
Yeah.
time I got started, so I'm literally, like, dragging them, and they're, like, dragging their feet, and it would take so long because they when they want to walk slow, they walk slow,
Oh,
and I'm
sure.
like, "I wish I could shove you in a stroller right now
Yeah. Yeah.
or a wagon or anything," but
So you're bringing your kids right along with you in the real estate world, and you're letting them be a part of it and showing them what it's about. And how are they dealing with that?
Pretty well. I always call the little one because 'cause he's been with me more often. I always just say, "Heads up, I'll have my assistant today, he's 5." And people are
By the way, I will tell you, Isabel was 4, and
Hi.
when I
Nice to meet you.
started,
Say hi.
she
Alright,
is
now go
a
back.
very, very good she she's very strong at real estate now, and she's not even licensed, but man, I'll tell you, she grew up with real estate and
Yeah, my, almost
picked up
9-year-old
on
is so funny. If he goes into a house that's not for sale, say you invite us over for dinner, he's gonna walk in and be like, "This home is so beautiful. I just love it. Can you show me around?" And I'm like, "Not everyone wants to show you," because I think he got so used to touring homes
I love
that
that.
now he's like, "Everyone wants us to see their whole house." I'm like, "Most people don't."
Yeah, I love
There are
that.
areas they don't want you to go, but yeah, so he's so funny with that, and he's also at the point where I can bribe him to do certain activities, like return labels on envelopes, help me put together I door knock with popcorn, and I put my business card and a little tag on it, and he'll help me put those together. And my 5-year-old likes to knock. That's,
Yeah.
know what they're good at. But yeah, and they've done well. They've had a couple of days where they're like, "Oh, we don't want to do this, mom. We miss when you just did this." And I'm like, "That's fair, but I'm still with you. I still chose a career where I'm not missing out on your things." And they're like, "Okay." And because I tell them too, it works, and my husband works a 9 to 5. And I'm like, "You know how long daddy's gone? If I were to take a regular job, I would be gone those same hours." And they're like, "But you wouldn't pick us up from school?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, I would not be able to do that anymore." And then they're like, "Oh, okay, well, I guess we like your job again."
Aw, I love that.
So,
I love that. That was my deal with the kids too. I'm not a 9 to 5er, but I won't miss anything of yours. And
yeah.
then
And
I
we eat dinner together as a family. And if I
uh,
have evening showings, I'll adjust our dinner time.
how did
And
you do that? Can I ask that? How are you doing that with your calendar? What are you how are you
I
making
have it time blocked.
You do? You have it time blocked? Okay. And so
I have it
when
time
you
blocked, and then if there is something, we do still have some houses. Our market's pretty settled down, but there are some listings that are gonna go quick.
sure, oh,
And
sure.
if I have one like that, and a client who may be interested, and they all know. So when I first meet with someone, say like you're a client you want to buy, I say, "Hey, Brooke, nice to meet you. I'm so excited that you've chosen me to work with. I do have a couple of boundaries. I have a family. They are going to come first and foremost. So if there are sick kids, you can still see things, but I'll have to have someone else show you. We can arrange that. I eat dinner with my family every night. That time can move if it needs to, but typically, but I will not miss out on family dinner. If we have an activity going on, I'll be like, "Hey, we've got this going on, but I'm
Mhm.
willing to work around it." And no one has ever been like, "Oh my gosh, you're so terrible. Like, I can't, this is a deal breaker." Everyone's like, "Ah, I love that you're so secure in yourself that you're giving me boundaries. I respect that." And I have had a couple of like single women who chose to never have kids. That's the lifestyle they wanted. And I will say they were the ones I was the most nervous to be like, "My family's first," and they're the ones who are probably the most supportive. Like, "You know what you want,
Absolutely.
you go get it."
Absolutely. I don't think that this industry works 24/7 because the public disrespects us. I think this industry believes they need to work 24/7 and be on call 24/7 because they don't set the expectations up front.
Yeah.
All about setting expectations up front. And the fact that early on in your career, you have learned to put your priorities as appointments and then set the expectation with your clients. What you're doing and have learned in this is you are attracting clients who respect your boundaries and who also share the same core values. And that's what matters. It could by you setting those expectations. Um, okay, just a couple more questions and then I will let you be on your way because I know your beautiful boys are looking for their mama. I know you're going to continue, which I'm so excited. You're going to continue with us. There's a continuation program from Break Free, which I just love. I'm a huge believer in staying like that, like where our community is like a fire and we're all little coals in the fire. And if you take a coal out of it, that coal can get cold. I don't want your coal to get cold. I want your coal to stay hot in the fire. So I'm really, really excited. What is there a specific goal that you're tackling next?
Yeah, so again, my word of the year is growth, and so very much growth. But that being said, I kind of mentioned earlier, allied resources is one of the things I'm choosing to funnel my energy to. And we had talked about doing a networking group for allied resources. And so that is my goal, is to get that up and off the ground. And if it just runs from September through May, then it just runs from September through May. Even our association runs from like with the school year, because we live in a unique place.
I love you. By the way, can you just give a little like 30 seconds like idea of your town of what Great
Okay,
Falls is like really quick.
so Great Falls, really quick spiel. I'm in Montana. We're pretty far north, farther north than a good chunk of Canada. We're cold for a good chunk of the year, get a lot of snow, and our population is 60,000. And so we are a very small community. We're one of the top places to retire. So we have a very much older community. So print marketing, everyone's always shocked, but that is winner, winner, chicken dinner
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. I love it.
Everything else does well too, but print marketing, like I've gotten so many like calls from my postcard or people that like see me and they're like, I got your postcard. And I'm like,
I love it. If you
yes.
have some good entertaining stories, you got to get in our Break Free because Alyssa has the best stories.
Oh,
Her cute little
yeah, we're
town.
also big on rodeo and all of that. I think we're, you know, just reach out to me. I'll tell you. Actually, if you even go to my Instagram, you can see a little snippet of my son mutton busting at the rodeo. So that'll give you a good glimpse of what we got going on over here in Montana.
Oh my gosh. I absolutely love it. Okay, so how would you just sum up your experience in Break Free in a few words?
Ooh, a few words. I'm not good with few words.
Or two
It
sentences.
so amazing. I'm gonna start with so amazing. It's been so good for me, so eye-opening. Those would be really good words. Going back to like growth has been my big thing, and I've done nothing but grow through this, even in areas where I didn't think I needed to grow, and or maybe it was very stubbornly like, this is fine. And so it's been so much for growth, and it's been really wonderful for my business. The guidance, the camaraderie, the community, everything about it is just so, so, so wonderful. And it pushes you forward in a beautiful way. It's like when you get your real estate license, because grow is my word, you're planted, okay, in the soil, and then expected to do everything on your own, but no one tells you that. And so maybe you think you're kind of going to bloom on your own, and you might. But it's so nice to have someone who's like, you got to water that and make sure it's getting sunshine. Here's how we get the sunshine. And so it's like the cultivating is actually happening. And so now I still am focused on growth, but it's like you're cultivating the growth that I'm focused on, which is amazing. And then you mentioned I'm continuing on. I was actually nervous about like what's next when I was nearing the end.
Oh,
Like, oh, I'm so, because like attached, I guess is a good word, but it's the room you want to be in. You like, you know it, you feel there's an energy. And if you're growth minded and surrounded by growth minded people and you're seeing like the system works if you work it and they're working it and I'm seeing it, I'm like, I want to stay with these people. I want to stick with them.
yeah.
And I was even nervous because Jantel, you interviewed her previously, and I knew she was ahead of me. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be so sad when she like leaves if that's what we do at the end of this, you know, and then you're like, oh, no, we continue. And I was like, oh my goodness, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
because I was like, it's like a sad moment. Like you're graduating this little, and 12 weeks does not sound like enough time to, you know, really get to know people, but you do. It's just so amazing. I think
Yeah.
maybe because we dig so deep together.
Mhm. Yeah, we spend a lot of time. We go deep together for sure because we're growing, right?
Yeah.
So with the program is what you put into it, right? You're going to get out of it what you put into it. And people in there want to grow, so they go all in. What would you say to any agent out there right now who might be struggling with either burnout or who's feeling stuck in their business?
Get a coach.
Love that. Okay.
First and foremost, get a coach. Because so much of it, even like I said, if you think you have a good mindset, you maybe don't, and you might not realize it. And your burnout could be coming from you. Like we just spoke with me and not letting my husband clean. I was burning myself out on the home, and I was like, "What's this all for if I can't?" You know. But
Yeah.
to realize that, and then you know, to have you dig that out of me because I didn't fully realize I was headed down that path per se. You know, and I think it was like kind of starting to come to a head that like something there was like a piece of the puzzle that was not fitting right. And so like it was dug up at just the right time. I wasn't fully burnt out. I never blew up on my husband for something he didn't know I was mad at him for. So,
Yeah. The
and I
story you were
wasn't
telling yourself.
necessarily, yeah, and I wasn't even mad at him because I was like, it's not that I was like, he's not doing this. It's like this just isn't getting done. And so I was just mad at no one. And
Yeah.
that's not the place to be. So I would say definitely get a coach, get someone, even if it's not a coach, find someone who's going to push you to uncover that and be willing to let your walls down as like a very stern walls of stone up around all the time. Being willing to have someone who maybe just pulls back a stone and is like, have you considered looking at it from this way? It's just, it will do wonders for your soul.
Aw, yeah. And I have seen you just open, just you're a gem. Any final words or anything I didn't ask you that you want to share?
Um, just that, you know, I'm grateful for you. I'm so grateful for this program. And I would encourage anyone on the fence to even just like shoot a message and you can message Brooke. You could probably find just about anyone in her program and message them. You share testimonials pretty frequently and they're always so great and they're real. I think is the biggest thing because I've seen so many, you know, of the phony baloney testimonials.
Oh, yeah, they're
When
not
I
soft.
started, yeah, when I started looking for a coach, that's kind of what you start to notice the same like chat GPT testimonial, right? Across various things. And so the fact that I got to talk to you and not your assistant's assistant or what have you was amazing. And so I know.
Hi, bud. And you're welcome in these too, right? We're happy to see you too, always,
Yes.
right?
And it's trash day. So the trash truck is going by. So he's got to be out here to witness the trash truck.
Well,
And that's
yeah,
been great too, is he's popped into various coaching and I've seen other people's kids as well. And no one's ever been like, oh,
never.
kid. He said he likes your shirt.
Oh, well, thank you.
She said thank you. She can't hear you though. He's very proud of himself for that. Oh, sorry if I froze. But yeah, thank you. But it's just get into the room. Get into the room.
You
That's
know,
the best thing I can say to anyone. It kind of answers like your last question too. If you think you might be headed towards burnout, get into the room.
yeah, good stuff. All right. Well, we'll end it there. I think that's a great place to end. So I'm gonna stop.